Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 2 of Manz Maker. As you know, it's the premier DFS show in the industry. I'm your host, Pete the Manzanelli, a titan of the industry, and I am joined right now by a truly prestigious guest, okay? This individual is always at beer 30 o'clock, all right? This guy is a fantasy shark in Dr. Steve Brule's clothing. This is a man who brags about his Adderall prescription with his Twitter handle. It is Mr. Josh ADHD. Welcome to the show, my man.
The Manz. I am so happy to be here, bro. It's so good to be here. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. Can I ask you, what's going on with this backdrop? Yeah, at there. Is this like the corporate? Did Fantasy Insiders make you get this? What's going on here?
They did, but I had to get something that showed that the sun never sets on ADHD land. Like the sun's always up over here, bro.
Just like you know with these, buddy, the sun never sets on crushing. Trust me, I get it. So what's I feel like you in years past, you were kind of a free agent, you're a rogue guy, a man about towns, and now what are you full-times over at Fantasy Insiders? What's the deal?
Yeah, I am full-time. If you want to get an app out of me, you want to get any kind of data work, you're going to have to go through the Fantasy Insiders and their crew. But always I'm available on Twitter. You know where to find me, and I'm happy to answer questions and give you kind of a half-ass answer as best as I can give. So you know, I'm a free agent for data, but otherwise, okay. I'm a mercenary, bro.
Now, I see you putting out all these apps all the time. There's different apps. What's your favorite app that you've been working on these days?
The app I'm working on right now is called the Player Usage app. And the point of that thing is like, you know, every week when I go, at least I used to, I'd go on and be like, how am I going to find out how many snaps guys are playing? And how am I going to find out, you know, what guys are doing? You know, how many air yards are they getting? You know, the Hermsmeyer, all of his air yards, how many yards are those guys getting? So I try to co-locate all those in one place with the Player Usage app, and it's still kind of in its infancy. We're still cooking it up, but I'm really happy with it so far. So that's my pride and joy right now.
Nice. And obviously we only have 1 week of data in there, but is there anything jumping out to you in your very proprietary, do not steal it or he will sue you, your Player Usage app?
Yeah, so right now it's you know, a lot of folks thought that the Texans O-line was going to be hot garbage coming into the season, and last week it was hot fucking garbage, man. They allowed 40% pressures on all of their offensive snaps. That's not good if your quarterback's getting pressured on 40% of snaps. The other thing I saw that was kind of interesting is Tennessee didn't do, you know, fuck all with the ball, but Miami, they only got pressure on 5% of the offensive snaps. So, I mean, Miami couldn't rush the passer for shit, and Tennessee still couldn't do anything with the ball. So I found those two things really interesting.
How do you think, I feel like Lamar Miller was an interesting figure this year. Everyone thought he'd be the bell cow back. Obviously, no Dante Foreman's or whatever. But now you're telling me the offensive line, it is confirmed bad. Are you thinking this has more of an effect on their passing game than, say, Lamar? Because Lamar looked pretty good in week 1.
Yeah, he looked really good. So maybe it's just one of those things where the run blocking is good and the pass blocking is shit. And, you know, it looked like you could still count on Lamar right now for some decent volume. And he was pretty good last week. So I wouldn't fade him at all going forward until he gives us reason to do otherwise.
And then just because I'm trying to tease out some actionable advice for all my actionable, hungry viewers here. So when you mentioned that the Dolphins don't have much of a pass rush, are you thinking that could get them in a lot of shootouts maybe? We're thinking Kenny Stills could be a blow-up player this year?
Yeah, I definitely think that, man. I thought that before I saw what the Dolphins did on defense last week. You know, Stills he's a good player. He's confirmed good. And, you know, he drags that ball and chain Ryan Tannehill around the field as best as he can. So I don't have any fear about Stills. The one thing I kind of get from it that I want to look for this weekend is if Miami's, you know, shit on the defensive line, they can't rush the passer, what's Sam Darnold going to do to him this week? You know, he looked pretty good against what looked like what we thought might be a decent Detroit Lions defense last week. And granted, he dink and dunked it a lot, but you know what? Dink and dunk will win you a lot of fantasy points. So
man, can you imagine? Ahead, can you imagine if in July I would say to you that you were going to say a phrase, I can't wait to see what Josh Arnold's going to do to them? Can you imagine that you would say that? I mean, who would have thought we would have all of a sudden thought Josh Darnold's just this stone cold crusher one weekend, man?
I know, man. It's a fucked up world we lived in. This is the NFL of today. Next week, we're going to be talking about Joe Flacco as a Hall of Famer. I'm afraid.
And we will get into some of the week 2 quarterback options on the DFS slate, because I know you got a little David Kitchens in you. All you guys over at Fantasy Insiders, you guys love your shitty quarterbacks in DFS. But before we get to that, I do want to ask you about, you have this other podcast. It's a new podcast that you guys are doing on Roto Grinders, and it is called Aggression to the Mean. And I just want to know, did you guys consider maybe calling it Revenge of the Nerds instead?
Oh, that was the first name that came up, but everybody thought it was going to be a little bit too accurate. So we kind of scaled it back a little bit and tried to be a little bit cute. And that's how we got Aggression to the Mean. We also thought about, like, 3 fucking dorks, but corporate shot that one down pretty quick. So here we are.
3 fucking darts, dude. That's clickbait right there, man. No, it is funny because I go to your the stream page or whatever, and you see some of the Roto Grinders comments, and dude, you guys are a little bit of polarizing show so far to date. Some of these guys think you guys are some super nerds just talking about dry shit. What do you say to the haters, my dude?
I tell them to go fuck their faces. It's sometimes you got to be dry to get through to people. That my favorite comment so far was the guy that said 8 minutes and zzz, like he would fall into sleep. I just blame him for having fucking narcolepsy. I mean, that's his problem.
No, this is the thing is you guys just save all the actionable nugs, the GPP winners, getting all that cash towards the end, and you weed out all these flimsy, riffraff people that aren't in it for the long haul, and you save that good shit for the people who stick with you, who persevere.
That's right, bro. We're that freshman chemistry class with 300 people in it. You got to survive.
So what are the, I'd like to say that I've checked it out yet. I have been more interested in reading the comments. What is your sales pitch for this show? What are you guys trying to unearth? Are you just trying to show off how big your brains are?
Well, yeah, that's definitely the first thing we're trying to do is show off how smart we are, the big brain on Brad. But, really what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach people about kind of the meta of the NFL, that it's not all about fantasy points and it's not about air yards, but it's about maybe what we can learn and really try to teach. We'd like to teach coaches and organizations maybe the better way to play the game at the end of the day. Now, are they going to listen to us? So far, they're not doing a very good job of it because Baltimore sucks ass tonight. They haven't figured out how to play any football yet. So, if we could teach a bunch of people that want to watch our podcast, that's great. If we can get, honestly, 10 people to be a little bit smarter about football, mission accomplished, baby.
I do think that's an interesting dilemma, and I notice it a lot in the fantasy space. The teach him how to fish versus giving him that sweet, delicious fish. And there are lots of people that want to dig deeper. They want the RotoViz tools. They want the ADHD and the Herms-Myers, tools and apps to build their own and come to their own conclusions. But there's also some of these people out here, man, that are working 60 hours a week, that have other stuff going on, that have a family. And frankly, the hobby for them is watching the games with a little skin on the game. They can't do a fucking thesis research project with your apps, bro. So I'm just playing a little devil's advocate here. What do you say to those people that are looking for the quick and dirty actionable info?
I don't have any problem with that. Everybody's got time and their time's worth money. And to people that don't have the time to do the research, I say pay up, bro. If you want picks and if you want actionable advice without having to do any work yourself, it's going to cost you. And there's plenty of sites out there to do it for you and basically tell you who to play. You pay them extra money, they'll do that. And then if they make a bad pick, you be pissed off at them. But guess what? That's the information you paid for. You got what you paid for.
And I will say, I feel like these guys who think you guys are boring they're not giving you a fair shake. Maybe they think the information or whatever, that it feels scholarly, very scholastic. But you dudes, I know all 3 of you dudes, you guys are entertaining dudes. You like to have fun. You guys aren't stiffs. So if someone's judging you based on the content, not giving you guys a fair shake, I say, open your eyes, bro. Look, not everyone can just be like the Manz and just pour out just effortless, danky information that's easily digestible. Not everybody can do that, and they need to give you guys, you nerds, a chance. What do you think of that?
I appreciate that, man. You standing up for the nerds. That's what makes the Manz like the Manz of the people.
That's right, dude. I'm a Manz of the people. No, I do have to ask a question, though. This is more in my wheelhouse, dude. Have you ever gotten a boner while thinking about analytics?
No comment.
No comment. Uh-oh, did I just stump him? Hey, just look around, make sure everyone's asleep in the house. This is between you and me, dude. Have you ever gotten a boner, dude, while thinking about
Dude,
analytics?
I got one right now.
Oh yeah, who are you thinking? What you thinking about? What you thinking about?
I'm thinking about AJ Green.
AJ Green, dude, 3
You know,
touchdowns in the first half.
all those sweet touchdowns.
All that regression to the mean, all that areas, dude.
He's regressing so hard right now.
Oh my God, he's regressing
so hard.
My goodness,
so
dude. And who knew that Andy Dalton would be the Viagra to get that thing fully erect, man?
That is the wettest regression I can think of for the longest time.
Oh my goodness, dude. I think
I just want to slide right into this regression to the mean.
Dude, if you played Andy Dalton or AJ Green in your captain slot in a showdown slate, dude, this is an erection that's not going to go away for at least 72 hours.
Yeah, that's the hardest stack I can think of right now. Hardest. That's like stack pre-apism.
Excellent, dude. Well,
consult a doctor, Manz.
This was a sexy little side tangent we just thought, but before we get everyone hot and bothered at home, let's talk some DFS. That's what everyone's here for. Every week, I give out picks and people win millions and millions of dollars. Did you see this dude who won the MILLY this week? His handle on DK was named Chalk.
That's the most meta thing that could possibly ever happen.
And he played an entirely chalk lineup.
Yeah, he played the chalkiest fucking lineup you could possibly play, and it smashed, dude. He smashed everybody. It was awesome.
Does anyone in the industry know who this character is? I feel like someone named Chalk. People should know who he is, do we?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would accuse it of being Davis Maddock, but he's too much of a braggadocio to keep that one quiet. So your guess is as good as mine, bro.
Oh no, if that was Davis Maddox's lineup, he would have had a tweet out in the first quarter about all those Ryan Fitzpatrick touchdowns. We would have known.
Yeah, we would have known.
I just think it begs the question. I mean, should I change my handle? Although DK won't let me, but theoretically, would be really cool if someone changed their handle to like Contrarian and they won the MILLY lineup this week with like 8 guys that were all under 5%. That would be sweet.
Dude, yeah. See, that's next level thinking right there. I dig that. I think you need to push, bro. I think you need to push DK for that, or just just multi-account like most of the other people on there do.
Dude, you know how I have this account name that I made, years and years ago. Everybody has like, that AIM, handle they made, a regrettable decision, and now
they're like 14 digits in it, doesn't it?
Dude, and this is a bee in my bonnet. This really gets me all steamed up when I think about this, because I understand why DraftKings on principle doesn't want people changing names, right? It's because of transparency issues. They don't want a crusher all of a sudden looking like he's a new guy and scooping head-to-heads, and it's very deceitful, very surreptitious, whatever. I'm trying to be more transparent. Right now, my name is a jumbled up anagram. I want my name to be the motherfucking Manz so people know what they're getting, and they won't allow that. They're letting me be less transparent. What is that bullshit, dude?
Yeah, that's they're just keeping the Manz down. That is some bullshit. I agree with that. If you contact them and be like, look, bro, I'm doing you guys a service. I'm advertising for you guys. Can you imagine how many millions of dollars you're losing because you're not letting me be me?
It's so true.
I don't know.
It's so true. I should threaten to go play on FanDuels. I will start uttering those words, FanDuels. I call it the Manz Maker, an homage to the MILLY Maker. I have a Manz GPP hosted on DraftKings. All of these things I do for you guys, and you do nothing. This is what you do in return. Jason Robbins, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Dude, I bet Yahoo would be happy to have your business, and you can name yourself whatever you wanted. You could be hard on 420 69 lover.
Dude, you're giving me some ideas. I need to start to play the market against itself, because they have become complacent with my patronage and my free promotion. And that's right. Maybe we will start hosting the Manz GPP somewhere else. Thank you, Josh ADHD. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I get paid to do is to think outside the box.
That's right. And speaking of thinking outside the box, so this guy Chalk, right? He identified this Saints-Bucks game last week as the premier game stack shootout under the radar game. I think everyone thought the Saints were going to run away from it. Fitzpatrick was going to throw all these picks. Let's look forward, as our friend Evan Silvas would say. This is a forward-looking show. Let's look forward to week 2. Josh, are you peeking? Are you peeking at any games that might be flying under the radar but have blow-up potential?
Oh, dude, I am all about to blow up games. all about the blowout games. That's the first thing I look for every week is the game that I think is going to go nuclear that nobody else is thinking about. I kind of fucked up last week, man. I thought it was going to be Washington and Arizona. I thought that game had a chance to go ham, and I forgot. I forgot Sam Bradford was still playing quarterback in this league. That son of a bitch let me down. He turned into just this totally whiny little girl on the field, and it just wasn't a good thing. So this week, man, it's tough. I think a lot of people want to hope that it's going to be Cleveland at New Orleans. I just don't think that's going to be it. I think Cleveland's probably going to get shellacked. So the other game I'm looking at that I find pretty interesting is Detroit and San Francisco, but I think that's a popular game. I don't like to play popular games. So I'm looking. Dallas and New York's kind of interesting because
that's not the main slate, though, right? I just want to clarify.
That's right. That's Sunday. Son of a bitch.
All right,
this is a problem for me. Damn it.
I know, right? I mean, not that we're completely anti-main slate. We know slates.
No, we got to stick to main slate because that's where the MILLY is, dude. That's where the MILLY is.
I know. So, sorry, I didn't mean to derail you, but I did want to make sure.
No. See, people got to rein me in. That's the ADHD at work. If they let me go off the radar, then and off the rails, it's gonna be game over. I got to have a handler, and you're my handler tonight, Manz. Golly, it's Oakland and Denver's pretty kind of sexy looking. Everybody thinks David Carr is a pile of shit, and he probably is, but, they're going to have to score probably 30 points to win that game. So that one's kind of interesting. And I think New England and Jacksonville has some interesting potential to it. So there's like 4 or 5 games on here that I could see both teams getting into the upper 20s and lower 30s, and that's good for DFS. That's kind of what we're looking for.
Yeah, I like your call because I think everyone is going to want to chase this Saints-Browns game, right? I think everyone's going to want to be on that. But it does feel like a little bit like a trap game where the Saints just smash. Like a couple defensive tutties, all of a sudden Mike Gillislee stealing a couple goal line touchdowns, and all of a sudden the Saints have 35 points and there's no production to go around for anyone we used.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm going to look at GPPs this week, and I'm going to see the Cleveland New Orleans stacks, and it's going to be Drew Brees, it's going to be Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, and then they're going to run it back with Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry or Carlos Hyde, and it's like it's too easy. Like that's not what's going to win this week. It's just it won last week. Like it won last week because everybody got on Tampa Bay. I don't think it's going to be this week. It's going to be something off the radar. That's just how it rolls, bro.
Yeah, one other thing, I think the other most popular game, and I do agree with you, I think Detroit and the 49ers will end up being, I think it'll settle in as the third most popular game stack, but I think the first most popular will be Kansas City Steelers. Do you agree?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
In that, I think from like a full-on game stack perspective, it's going to be too tough to get that at really low ownership, but I am thinking about some plays of where I can get exposure to that game without being on the chalk. I'm going to throw 2 names out at you. What do you think about Kareem Hunt and Sammy Watkins?
Yeah, Kareem Hunt was one of the first guys identified from that game that I wanted to play because he didn't do much last week. And I do like Sammy Watkins, again, for the same reason. He didn't do much last week. They're both really cheap relative to what they started at. Kareem Hunt's 6,200. I think Sammy Watkins is 4,900, 4,700, something like that. So that's the best way to get exposure to the game is you get the guys low owned that are cheap.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. So that's some is, and maybe you don't do that game stack, but maybe in your other game stack, you're sprinkling in Kareem Hunt and Watkins. And so when that big game stack flops or everyone's on it, then you have the pieces. It feels very anti-fragile, feels very, very, I don't know what the word is. Very sharp, very sharp.
That's how you kick the field's ass, man. That's how you kick the field's ass.
That's right. Now, speaking of kicking the field's ass, let's talk about some min-priced, super low-priced quarterbacks, because I see you on your Twitters over there, Josh. And you're talking, I saw a screenshot of Josh Allen at 4,600. Why don't you tell me what that's all about?
Dude, I gotta like this bad habit. Like I go slumming for quarterbacks every week, especially in cash. And Josh Allen, once they announced him as a starter, I was like, that might be my boy this week. So last year I didn't have any issue rolling out Kaiser at quarterback, and he was like totally rock bottom, hot garbage. And he gets you 15 points in a week. And, at the price, he was like 4,200, 4,500. That's a win, bro. That's a win. So I'm thinking the same thing for Josh Allen. We know Joey Bosa's not playing this week, and that's a good thing. Like if Allen's not going to get totally creamed by Bosa, I think he's got to punch his chance of putting up 15 or 16 points. And at $4,600, you can't argue with that, man. That's awesome.
Let me tell a story. Let me paint a picture right here. And you've already started laying the groundwork, okay? What if, and let's just do a few what ifs. What if Josh Allen is actually okay? What if Kelvin Benjamin is one of the top ranked regression candidates according to our dear friend Josh Hermsmeyer's week 1 air yards model? What if LaShawn McCoy gets going at home after a rough week 1? What if the Chargers defense without Bosa, as they were last week against the Chiefs, continue to be a sieve and give up points? What if Phillip Rivers chucks it around the yard to Keenan Allen? What if this is our sneaky shootout game and Josh Allen is our path to $1 million?
I love that, bro. I love that. That's the kind of thinking I'm looking for. That's outside the box. That's the kind of shit the NFL gives us every week. We never see it coming. And that's the exact kind of game we got to look for. That's the story we got to tell ourselves.
I like it. And so if we say we do get super cheeky, super sneaky with those Bills guys, who are your favorite guys to bring it back on the Chargers? Because there's a ton of options. Obviously, Melvin Gordon's the chalk, but what are the ancillary plays do you like there?
Yeah, I mean, the other easy button for the Chargers is going to be Keenan Allen, because he's going to eat, the best route runner in the league just about. And so I think he has a solid possibility of 1 touchdown, even 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, getting the bonus. I really like him, but I think he's going to be kind of chalky. So Terrell Williams, man, he kind of sucked out loud last week, and so did Travis Benjamin. But those two cats, especially early in the game, if they're still trying to build a lead, I think they got a good chance of doing something. And Austin Eckler, if there is garbage time, if there's cleanup time, it's going to be Eckler time, bro. And again, if Eckler gets 15 to 20 touches in that game, a few targets, you're looking at some pretty hefty points there. So the game script you're talking about, I think it's going to be guys like Terrell Williams and Travis Benjamin lighting it up, and not necessarily Keenan Allen. That's if you want to be contrarian on DK like you want to be, that's who you play.
Yeah, dude, I like it. And because, again, not every week is the same. Not every path to $1 million is the same. Trust me, guys, I've made $1 million a lot of different ways. So we don't want to just copy the blueprint of Mr. Chalk over there. But, of course, his big play was Deshaun Jackson at less than 1% ownership. And in his game, the two guys you just mentioned, if you're going to win a milli with a guy having a 2-touchdown game at 1% or less ownership, it's going to be a Travis Benjamin.
Yeah, the other guy I would look at maybe as just a total YOLO play would be Zay Jones or Charles Clay. Either one of those guys, because, again, nobody's going to be on them at all. They'll be on, if they're going to play anybody from Buffalo, it's going to be Kelvin Benjamin. Or, and here's the real outside play, LaShawn McCoy, because he's kind of expensive for a running back. But, I mean, I'm telling you, he's going to get some volume if they're in that game.
Here it is, Josh ADHD. You and me, we are going to build a Millie Maker lineup. We're going to tell DraftKings to change our name to Contrarian, and you and me are going to win. We're going to split $1 million with a Josh Allen, Zay Jones, Travis Benjamin lineup.
Bro, I'm all about this. Yes.
All right.
I am all about that.
We'll figure out the particulars of that after the show. But, I mean, Josh and I just gave away all the plays there. We will make sure it all meshes together. But this is what's going to happen. And then Josh and I are going to go on a world tour flaunting how smart we are.
Yeah, and if anybody wins that off of our takes, man, they need to cut you in 10% at least, because that's only right. That's how you take care of the Manz.
Are we worried about Zay Jones being 10% owned now after we hyped him?
I'm worried about him being on bath salts, to be honest. But bath salts might make that guy go even more ham. So, no, I think we'll be okay on ownership.
Okay, let's talk about one more other. You mentioned you like going dumpster diving. Give me your sales pitch for Nicky Foles, the hero of Philly, who was then booed after between games of winning the Super Bowl and then, shitting the bed against the Falcons. What's your case for Nicky Foles?
I don't know if you can really shit the bed against the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons, until they killed everybody on their own defense, they had a pretty decent defense. So, I think you can cut Foles a little bit of slack. Tampa Bay sucks out loud on defense. Drew Brees diced their ass up last week. And even though they lost, they put up 40 points, dude. I mean, they went ballistic. So I think Philly can do the exact same thing because schematically, I think Philly's a lot the same as New Orleans. They're just going to exploit your ass all day long. And I think Foles is a good play this week. I might play him in cash.
Dude,
I'm not scared.
The other reason I like that, just again, as a pure kind of like recency or primacy bias. I'm not like a theologian, so I don't know. But, that game was a long time ago, right? And people have a bad taste in their mouth from Foles. People already forgot that Aguilar had a ton of usage. Jeffrey's still obviously out. I feel like a Foles, Ertz, Aguilar stack could be extremely viable.
Oh, you're missing the sexiest player of all, and that's Mike Wallace.
Ooh, okay. Now we're talking GPP Mike Wallace.
Yeah, Darren Sproles.
That's right. Because the reason I'll just frame it this way. Going into this season, two guys I was taking late in all my best balls in my season-long drafts were Philip Dorsett and Mike Wallace, right? Two very similar type of profiles, like the third wide receiver, good offense, good QB. And Dorsett blows up week 1. That could have just as easily have been Mike Wallace. It's just he didn't do it.
Yeah, Mike Wallace had a shit ton of air yards directed his way. It had 0 catches. I mean, he had only 3 targets, but they were D targets. And if Foles could have connected on any of those, he was walking in the end zone. So,
it's true.
I mean, it's a little bit this way, a little bit that way. And Mike Wallace is maybe the top wide receiver scorer of the week instead of Deshaun Jackson. That's how you got to think about this.
And who do you like bringing that game back with?
I think the best play is probably Mike Evans, but I don't have any problem with Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin's going to be the popular bring it back play if anybody stacks that game because he's the cheaper option. Yeah. And he's the infatuation at the moment. But I would bring it back with Evans. I might even bring it back with OJ Howard because OJ Howard got a lot of run last week, and I don't have any issue playing OJ Howard right now if he's going to get that kind of run over Cameron Brate.
Yeah. All right, dudes. Just right there, I just want you guys to know we're serving up. We mentioned how a lot of times people were trying to teach you how to fish. Dude, Josh, what did we just fillet? Some nice salmon cuts right there and just put them on a platter. Little rosemary and thyme. Nice little set of asparagus that were grilled. We just served it up on a motherfucking platter for you guys.
Word up, man. That's sashimi with the good rice paper wrap, not that shitty seaweed stuff they put around it every time.
That's right. Eat it up. Eat it up, folks. All right. Now let's talk about a more depressing topic. And I have a question for you. Okay. The topic is Amari Cooper. The question is, and wait for all the options here. Does Amari Cooper have an A, John Gruden problem, B, Derek Carr problem, C, Amari Cooper problem, or D, all of the above?
I think it's probably D. That's probably the best answer. Like he's fucked from all angles, I'm afraid.
Oh no. I was really hoping that you might say, oh, he has a Gruden and Derek Carr problem, but he's still good. But it's all of the above.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of everything. Now, the easiest problem to solve is the him problem, but the problem with the him problem is we don't know what the him problem is.
Okay, I'll just throw this out there, though. I'm seeing these tweets. I'm seeing people retweeting. Greg Cosell says Amari Cooper's was getting open. Derek Carr just isn't giving him the ball. So do we trust these film grinders, Josh? Or are we just saying the numbers, the production, it's not there. We just need to move on?
I think we trust the film grinders a little bit. I mean, I watched some of the film myself, and he was open. Like, that dude was open, and sometimes maybe he ran the wrong route. That's a John Gruden problem if he's running the wrong route. If he's open and he's not getting the ball, that's a Derek Carr problem because he's just Joe Flacco out on the West Coast. So that's why I say it's all of the above. Sometimes, yeah, I mean, Amari Cooper, he fucks up. He runs the wrong route. But I think he runs the wrong route because John Gruden's offense is too complicated. And John Gruden gets his hard on for a play call that's 70 words long. And then, Derek Carr, I always call him David Carr. They're the same fucking guy. Anyway, this Carr dude, Joe Flacco West, I mean, he sucks. He just fucking sucks. I hate watching him because he could be so much better, but he's just a chicken shit in the pocket, man.
So do we even entertain? I mean, Amari Cooper, what are you getting him at this week? Sub 5% ownership? I mean, has anyone? Peter Jennings can only put in 150 lineups. So I mean, we know that, but I feel again, but this happened so many times last year. I mean, he really only had the one blow up game on that Thursday night game against the Chiefs, but we know he's capable of it. But maybe this situation is just so broken right now that it's impossible to do it.
Yeah, I think the only time right now I'm going to look at Amari Cooper is when I know Oakland is playing a team with a shitty pass rush. And I feel like Derek Carr is going to have time to throw. Otherwise, I'm probably going to stay off of it, because if the quarterback's not going to force the ball his way, then you don't need to fucking play him, no matter how good he is.
It's true. It's true. It's sad times. It's sad times for Amari Coopers. I mean, there were people thinking this guy might lead the league in targets, that he was finally had Michael Crabtree out of his way. And it just looks like more and more of the same. And I don't know who someone, I think it was my friend Rumford Johnny's on there, was saying he just needs a change of scenery. New start, kind of like Emmanuel Sanders going from Pittsburgh to Denver. So I don't know, maybe we have to hold out a year, but as far as DFS purposes, we are on hold with Amari Cooper's production. Let's talk about one more wide receiver here. I saw you doing the eye emojis, thinking about this guy, Mr. Devin, Honey Bunches of Funches. What are your thoughts on him? Obviously, Greg Olson's out. I see you getting excited over there.
Yeah, so we talk about statistical hard-ons. I got another one right now thinking about Funches and all of his size and speed. Now, he's not the fastest dude. He's fast enough, though. I love Funches this week, man. They're going to have to score some points to beat Atlanta. They get to play on that turf, man. The turf indoors where they can run a little faster. I love Funches because everybody's going to be on McCaffrey. They think McCaffrey's the easy button. And I'd rather have Funches at 4,700. I mean, you could slot him in, and you could put him next to a guy like Randall Cobb, and you've got some dirt cheap wide receivers that you can pair with Antonio Brown if you're going to stack the chalky game. I mean, it's just, you think about Devin Funches and 8 targets, and he gets 6 of those and scores a touchdown. That's some pretty fucking sexy stuff for 4,700.
Yeah, and I mean, you would know better than me what his splits last year without Olsen in the lineup, or without another one of those primary guys. I feel like he was rock solid in those situations.
Hells yeah, man. He was a baller because they forced the ball his way. They didn't have too many other options outside of McCaffrey, so he saw the volume and he paid it off, man. He caught the ball, he scored touchdowns, and that's what you want. He's kind of like Nuke Hopkins in a way, is that he got forced a lot of volume, and it wasn't quite as much as Nuke, but it's okay. It was still good volume. That's what we want in DFS, man. We want volume.
That's true. That's true. I like it, dude. Okay, so we are entering the home stretch here of week 2. Mansmaker, want to thank our guest, Josh ADHDs, for coming on. But of course, as longtime listeners will know, this is the time where I propose to see if my guest is up for the 69 challenge. Josh, are you aware of the 69 challenge?
I am somewhat aware. You're going to have to explain this to me again. I heard numbers 6 and 9 and I kind of got sidetracked. So you're going to have to give me the lay of the land.
That's right. Okay. So it's very simple. On DraftKings, there are 9 slots. Very convenient. Now, I could, of course, just propose a head-to-head, you versus me, 9 versus 9, get our dicks out, see who's better. But no, dude, the Manz needs to give his opponents a handicap. I'm going to play this head-to-head with my hand tied behind my back and with my 3 worst scores thrown out. I'm taking zeros at 3 spots. And these are the stipulations, okay? Were you to beat me with 9 guys to my 6, okay, I would go on Twitter and I'd link to your podcast, Revenge of the Nerds, 4 fucking dorks, whatever, promote your shit, yada, yada. However, if I were to beat you with only 6 players, you would go on Twitter, preferably in all caps lock with a funny GIF attached, and say, Manz is the greatest DFS player of our generation. Do you accept these terms?
Bro, that's no question I accept those terms. I'm going to wear your ass out.
Okay. All right, because I've been in the lab thinking about new strategy for the 6-9 challenge this year, and Dink had a massive cash game lineup last week. I mean, his cash game went berserk, so I had no chance against him. But I think I have the roadmap how to take a few of these down this year. So I'm glad you are up to the challenge. And yeah, we're also, of course, we're gonna build this Bills Chargers stack once we get off air here. And yeah, why don't you tell people? I feel like we've teased out some of the things you're working on this season, but why don't you give us the full smorgasbord, the full slate of where they can find your work?
Yeah, so my work, you can find it at Fantasy Insiders. It's all app work. So if you go to Fantasy Insiders and check the left side, the left column, you'll find a lot of the apps I've been working on. I've still got some apps that are in the works that aren't on that left column yet. So I've got a brand new version of the Air Yards app that I'm building right now. I've got a matchups app, adjusted matchups app that's good for DFS and season long stuff that I'm recooking a little bit, but it's still functional. You can use that right now. And we got a couple other things in the works, but I don't want to talk about it yet. That's proprietary secret shit.
Ooh, that's a tease. That's a tease if I've ever heard one. All right. Well, thank you, Josh, for coming on the program. You guys, we are going to have one of these every single week during the NFL season. We'll stream them live either Thursday nights or Fridays, and then they'll be archived on the YouTube page for you to watch at your viewing pleasure. And also, I know that I'm in the DFS streets, but please don't forget that I'm also the inventor of multiple physical cryptocurrencies, the original Manz coin and Manz coin lit. Josh, I forget, did we get you hooked up with one of these? Do you have a Manz?
No, I don't have one, man. I need to be. Okay. I will be your like a disciple if I can get one of these awesome coins.
All right. I'll get you hooked up. To all the rest of you peasants and plebeians, please hit me up. Slide into my DMs. The Manz coin core are sold out. There are only 69 ever made, but Manz coin lit, there's a unidentifiable number of these that were mined. You can hit me up. I will send them to you. They're going for $20.69 right now. Incredible value for the future of monetary currency. That's enough shilling from me. Everybody have a wonderful week and enjoy winning $1 million with Josh Allen. Peace out from me.
Deuces.
Deuces.